Okay, this is the Golf Commission meeting on July 13th, 2020.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to the Golf Commission meeting. It is 7:02, and I'll call the meeting to order. This is Keith Varian. I'm going to skip the Pledge of Allegiance and move right into the first agenda item to act on the minutes from our last meeting of June 8th. Can I get a motion to approve?
I will make a motion to approve. This is Priscilla.
And this is Paul. I'll second.
Great. Before we vote, are there any comments to the minutes? All right. Hearing none, let's take a vote. All in favor to approve, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Any abstentions? All right. All right. Let's move to communications. We did get actually several communications this month. I think the one that I'd asked
Liam
abstained.
around. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. Got it. Prue, did you hear that?
I'm sorry, who was that?
Liam?
Oh, yes, I think he was on.
Sorry, I keep muting and unmuting. I'm just saying I abstained from the minutes.
Oh, okay.
Any more stuff in minutes?
All right. We got a couple emails about the golf cart fee policy, and I had asked Prue to send around the email from Ralph Charmiello, which is a pretty good example of the other emails that we received. So I think we'll start with that. Did everybody get that? Did anybody not get that email or an email about this policy?
I did receive one, yep.
Okay.
Keith, I did. This is Mike. I just saw that email you sent today. I didn't notice an email about a policy change.
I received it from the president of the women's group. It was sent to all the presidents of the groups, and then they were supposed to distribute it to their members.
Got it. So the one that, Mike, that I think that you got, I think you got the one from Ralph. Is that the one you got?
Yes. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, okay. All right, I thought Jim and Anthony have been talking about this. This has not come in front of the commission yet, so we have not heard or talked about this. And maybe, Jim, you could kind of give a little background as to how we got to where we are and what the change in the policy was meant to accomplish.
Okay, I'd be happy to. Cool. I think it's important to say it's change in the billing process, not in the policy. We didn't do any rate changing or anything of that sort. It's just the change in the billing process out of the pro shop. But as everybody knows, we had single passenger carts for the first half of this year. Anthony and I were lucky enough to secure 10 rental carts back in June. Unfortunately, we could only get them for a month, and the rental carts had to go back on July 9th. When we had the rental carts, we had no issues as far as single passenger carts or whatnot. We didn't run out for the entire time we had the rental carts. Once the rental carts went back, many people insisted on riding alone in a cart, single passenger cart, and we ran out 5 days in a row, earliest time being a little bit after 10 o'clock. One time we made it to about 11 o'clock. And the people that are playing at those times are stuck waiting around for carts to come in, become available for them to ride. They stand out in the sun because we don't have anywhere for them to find shade or anything. So they hang out on the first tee and wait for carts to come in. Once carts come in, we tee them off. And it just creates havoc with the tee sheet because nobody wants to start their round walking and have us run a cart out to them. So anyway, we're in a situation now where we don't have enough carts to to continue the single passenger cart policy. Back on June 17th, I believe, the CDC came out in conjunction with the USGA allowing 2 passenger carts, and they made a couple of recommendations that the same person drives the cart the entire time, and that the passengers of the cart wear masks while they're in the carts together. Even with that, we did ask nicely for people to consider riding in a 2-passenger cart out of fairness to the people that are playing behind them and whatnot. It just was not met very well by too many people. So we're not in a position to mandate that people take a 2-passenger cart. I don't want my staff to be in that position. I don't want to be in that position either. So in conjunction with talking to the legal department in town, Anthony and I had conversation with them, and this is the wording that they chose in order for us to perhaps make people think more about taking a 2-passenger cart, in that we're going to go back to our old ways, which we did prior to me coming on in 2006, where when you rented a cart, you actually rented the cart. You weren't renting a seat. There was no single passenger fee back then. It was just if you came in first and you're playing with somebody, you would pay the fee for the entire cart, and presumably that person would reimburse you. That's where we are right now. I did send a notice to the league presidents, just hoping to give them a heads up and spread the word, and they certainly did. And I think that's why we got so many emails last night and this morning.
This is Priscilla. If I may make a comment, Jim, I've got to tell you, I'm vehemently opposed to this. Number one, so if you are renting a cart and you're a person who might have some health concerns and has to ride alone, they're getting now charged $36 a cart. And I think that it is an awful burden for anyone to have to pay, especially if it's a non-resident who needs to ride in a cart, and if they need to ride by themselves. So that's part one. And okay, I don't know who was on the board. Wait, hold on a second. Let me just finish. I don't know who was on the board back then and what the policy was, but I thought that, we had changed it for the better. And in this day and age, too, to make somebody ask somebody for reimbursement, we're trying to keep all contact, away from each other. And now to ask people who you might not know to chip in for you, where it was going fine as far as everybody was concerned, is just paying for half a cart. I think that the policy should not be changed. And, again, I'm very, very opposed to that. So, that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I just want to make it clear, it's not my policy, Priscilla, okay? I'm just, it's the town policy that we're talking about. It's not Jim Alexander behind the counter. It's the town of Fairfield policy.
Right. But the town policy that we have not heard, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I know. I just don't want you attributing it to me. Okay. I'm
just
saying
no, I'm not. No.
So you disagree with the town policy, that's fine, and I think that's what we're discussing tonight. But
right, absolutely.
Just please don't attribute it to me. And,
I am not. No, absolutely not, Jim. I am not.
And I appreciate that. And just to give you a little more background on it, the genesis of the half cart charge came about almost more for more convenience for the pro shop rather than the consumer. Okay, it's a long story, but back when Smith used to charge for the entire cart, we were a cash-only facility, and I'm sure you remember that, Priscilla, because you played up there long enough.
I do, yep.
2005 and prior. And that could be another point of frustration. And like you said, I think you said something about who carries cash to reimburse other people. It was more of a convenience for the pro shop, and it worked out to be a convenience for the consumer also, because we're taking credit cards starting in 2006, and it saved everybody from shuffling cash back and forth.
Come on. That's the board.
Paul Gleason speaking. I don't know if you can hear me, but I understand all the pluses and minuses here. I'm a walker, but I also understand Priscilla's point, and in my experience, whether it was private club, public club, and I think Ralph did a very good job of of stating what happens in other places, and that is that it's very unusual, this $36 one person pays, the other guy pays them. Typically, there is a charge per person, and I think this, I understand people with later tea times aren't getting carts. We should probably try to deal with that, but penalizing the people that really have an issue with A, walking, and B, riding with someone in the cart, I think I don't think it's a good time for us to be doing something that's, out of tune with what we're trying to accomplish with this COVID-19. So I'm in the same kind of boat as Priscilla. I think we should look at a different way to address this rather than having people pay other people.
They can't hear, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, we can hear whoever's talking, just so you know. So I guess the first question is just procedurally. Jim, if this is a town policy, do we even have any ability here to change the town policy? On this call right now.
I don't know, what we're defining a policy as. I know the Golf Commission is responsible for setting policy and procedure, and in that you set rates. So the Golf Commission, over the years, has set the rates for a golf cart.
Well, that's what I mean. The rate is set. We'd have to change the rate. Is what it's really.
Yeah. So Keith, I don't think it's hard for us to change the rate from $36 per cart to $18 per individual.
I think that's
which is how it's
have to ask the question
charged.
if you could have a rate change in the middle of the season.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Again, I'm not sure I support that. Just so everybody knows. We'd have to vote on this, but I don't like the idea of selling half a cart. I think if I go to a golf course and I say it's just me and I want to get a cart, I pay the full cart fee. If somebody rides with me and we're twosome and we're riding in the same cart, when I go pay, I would pay for half a cart and that other person would pay for half a cart when they pay for their tee time. And so there would be no money exchanging, first of all. We would each pay half, which we have the ability to do at the pro shop here. So, if I decide that and now the CDC and all the other guidelines allow us to put two people in a cart, so I actually think the right way is to charge the full rate for the cart, whatever that rate is. Right now that rate is $36. So I think we charge for a full cart if you are renting a cart.
And see, I respectfully disagree. We have been charging each person $18. And that regardless of if they're the only person in the cart or if there are two, they each get paid. To switch that at this point, in the middle of the season, I don't think that's fair to the golfers. We're trying to get non-resident golfers in to play the course because they bring a lot of money in for the revenue, and now we're going to switch this on them and make them, if they only feel comfortable riding by themselves, if there's a health issue or because they can't walk or whatever, to make them pay the full fee for the cart, I think is just terribly unfair.
Hey, can I
just to the go ahead, Christine.
I just want to ask, so that's okay. So the genesis of this is you were trying to deter some rentals so you had carts available for more people throughout the day, right?
No, we're not trying. I don't think anybody's trying to deter rentals. We're trying to make rentals more available for everybody that wants to.
Right. So you're trying to stop it. So you're trying to get less people to spread out throughout the day, right?
No.
Okay. So why did you go to the town legal department? What was the reason?
Because it's a dicey subject with the whole pandemic going on. And we weren't just going to come out and
accomplish. Like, what was the reason?
Because we didn't want to just come out with a general statement that we're going to sit behind the counter and play God and say you can't take your own cart. It's just
no, but I mean, you were trying to do it so you could spread the carts out over the day, right?
No, because we run out of carts. We're trying to make carts more available for everybody, not just the people that play in the morning that want to take their individual cart. If I could, I'll just give you a little flavor on what goes on up there. and this is just from me being up there 7 days a week, from sun up to sundown. People are driving to the course in the same car. People are coming into the pro shop, paying their fees, standing. What do you mean? No, they're not. Anyway, people are driving there in the same car. They're coming into the pro shop, standing a foot or two away from each other without a mask on or out in front of the umbrella tree, sitting on the same bench, 4 people, no mask on, yucking it up, okay? They go to the first seat. We want individual carts. So we give them individual carts. They come in, they park outside the cart barn, they grab their scorecards and stand within a foot of each other with no mask on, hugging, high-fiving, whatever they want to do, and, finish up their day and leave in the same car. And these people are asking for individual carts because everybody got so, I don't know what the word is, but so enamored with having their own cart when they're on the golf course, whether they want room for their cooler or they just think they're going to play faster or whatever. And that's what it's turning into up there. We know there are people that are legitimately concerned about riding in a cart with someone. And that's why the CDC came out with the guidelines of people masking up if you're sharing the cart with somebody, and that whoever is the driver is the only person that drives that cart. So that's the reality of what's happening up there. We're not trying to discourage anybody from renting carts. We're trying to be fair to the people that play after. And, it happens a lot with the leagues. I'm not saying they're the only people that do it. But on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday mornings, everybody wants their own cart. And if you have a tee time from, say, 10:15, 10:30 on until noon, you are not going to tee off on time if you're expecting to ride.
Jim, I understand your point. And, again, this is something that I don't think that we should penalize everyone for the actions of a few. And again, you're up there a lot more than I am, and I'm a walker. I don't take a cart. But I just think it's hard to change policy, and it is a rate change because you're charging now double if one person is in a cart. And again, my point is it's not fair. And then let's say you have 3 people playing and not 4, and they all need to take a cart. So let's say 2 of them take a cart, and the third person now is stuck with paying the $36 by themselves when the other 2 get to split it, and that's not fair either. I just think that we just can't penalize everybody just for the actions of a few. And you're right. I think we need to. I don't know what the answer is as far as policing that, but you're right. If that is happening, that's absolutely wrong, especially if they're using COVID as an excuse to take their own cart and then not social distancing. I absolutely agree with you. But I just don't think this is the way to rectify that situation.
He's going to say it. He hasn't said it.
Well, I'd like to say something, which is if you look at the May report where everybody was forced to take single carts, the cart revenue was down significantly. And I know May wasn't a full month, but it was pretty good. Whereas June was significantly up. I guess we got full utilization. I think if you let everybody just take $18 carts when you can get $36 for the cart, and you continue the policy, you are going to take a decent revenue hit. And I think maybe you don't charge them the full 36, but if they want to get their own cart, I don't think 24 is a thing that's guaranteed to sell a cart, because then at least you capture some of the revenue that you might get out of a 2-person cop cart in order to do it. So I do think that I know you want to be sensitive to everybody, but that's at the same time you're going to be taking you're going to be halving the revenue of each of these golf carts, the utilization over the day. And I think that you really should consider, some sort of thing in the middle, maybe. And that's all I'll say.
Great point, Liam. I think that's what we need as a commission to find something that's not $18 if you want a solo cart and not $36, but maybe something in the middle. I like that.
This is Keith. I guess 2 quick points. One is, and I think going back to Christine's point, which she had a good point, which is I do think, Jim, before we start talking about rate changes and policy changes, that is something that we as a commission need to talk about, right? I mean, we got emails because this went out to the public, and we didn't even know about it. So that should have gone through us before it went out and became public. because this is something that the commission should have decided on, or at least had input on, rather than hearing about it.
So if I'm not mistaken, Keith, and maybe Anthony can help me on this, that's why we went through the legal department of Fairfield. It's not a rate change. Okay, it's a billing change in the pro shop. It's almost, it's a
it's a policy change. I mean, it's a policy change, right?
Or a change in procedure, whatever.
Yeah, it's a policy change.
Well, I disagree. It is a rate change if it's one person in a cart.
Right. This is Mike. I was going to say that too. If I'm a single and I show up and I'm by myself now and I want a cart, now I'm paying $36, where in the past I was paying $18. So it really is a rate change, correct?
Right. Of course it is. It's a fact.
And if you're a golfer who's playing with 3 walkers, and you have to take a cart for health reasons, so now you're going to be penalized having to pay the $36.
Yeah, and I think 36 is a lot of money to pay for a cart at a public golf course.
Right. And on top of, especially if you're a non-resident, on top of the non-resident fee.
The problem is that's the published rate, right? I mean, that's the rate. We'd have to change the rate for the golf carts if we want to charge something different. I still think. Let me step back.
I thought it was
Jim,
18.
do you have a sense of what other golf courses are doing? How they handle it?
They're doing.
I am curious to hear what other people are doing.
Right. The only one that
Ralph
I found.
Slater.
The only one that I found. The only course I found that's mandating it is Oak Lane. It says right on the. I believe I sent you a copy of that this afternoon, but they are mandating that 2 passengers are in a car, which is what we did up until May of this year.
Yeah, because we're a public golf course. Now, I'm just curious what other people, if they're shopping golf courses, what they're shopping, right? And how does our cart policy differ from the other local golf courses?
Tashawa charges half a cart for each person who takes a cart.
Right. The majority of the courses in the area do charge half a cart. Because let me add also, Tashawa has 27 holes originating out of the same facility. Fairchild Wheeler has 36 holes originating out of the same facility. So Fairchild has 120 carts at their disposal. Tashawa has 95 carts at their disposal. We have 60 carts for a higher volume golf course than any one of those golf courses. They're not doing the numbers we do as far as rounds.
Get more carts.
Yeah.
Can we? Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I mean that's something to consider. This might be the way golf is for not just this year, but into next year, maybe the year after. Who knows?
I would highly.
But can we give people the option to go together? I really think that the solution is if somebody mandates that they want a solo cart, they pay $24. Else they need to get paired up, and they can pay cheaper money if they're willing to get paired up. Why not that? Because then if it's then if it's 3 people who are walking and 1 person with a cart, they don't have a choice to pair up with somebody. So then they pay $18. But if there's 2 people, then then they pay $18 if they ride together. They pay $24 each if they decide to take their own carts. If there's 3 people,
I also has this concern been conveyed to any of the leagues about what members are members I mean, should we start there first and send out?
It's been addressed with them. I believe I sent out the CDC announcement in June about 2 passenger carts, and it was not well received. There's very few people that are willing.
I don't know, but I think if we spoke about what we're speaking about now, and communication was sent out to the league presidents to then distribute to their members, saying, "Listen, this is what is being seen up at the golf course, and we are having a shortage of carts. We want to keep the rates the same. What can we do as members to make sure that we're all in compliance with everything and that we're helping the course out?" I think instead of doing something as drastic as this, I think we need to work with all the members of all the leagues at this point.
If I might, it's already been conveyed to them. There's signs all over the pro shop door. We sit behind the counter myself and my staff, and very politely ask them if you're comfortable riding with somebody. We'd encourage you to do that because we run out of carts, and people that are playing behind you will have to wait. And we do it every day. We do it 12 hours a day. And league play, I would venture to guess, is probably 20 to 25% of our play at the golf course. So it's not just the league that's the problem. The leagues are a problem, okay, but they're not the only problem.
Well, I think that communication needs to be sent out by the league president, saying, talking about the seriousness of this and the fact that social distancing, they're taking a single cart, but social distancing isn't being observed before or after, and that needs to change.
We've pointed it out to people in person, and they've snapped back at us. It's not as easy as it sounds sitting in golf commission.
No, and I agree. The job that the people in the pro shop have is ridiculous, and it's very hard. I agree. But maybe this is some of the responsibility that can go on to the league presidents to make sure they convey this to their membership.
Yeah.
Yeah, because where I'm struggling with this right now is that when you have two people who are riding solo in the same group, that's the issue, right? The issue isn't when I come up by myself, I'm a solo, there's nobody else, it's a one-person tee time, and I get a cart. The issue is when there are two people, each riding solo in the same group. That's the issue because it's an extra cart. And both of those people are paying $18, so we're getting $36 for two carts. That's what I think we're trying to avoid here, is having, at this point now, where people are allowed to be in a cart together, people still saying, I don't care, I'm going to ride by myself because that's my preference, but I only want to pay for half a cart. And this is a tough conversation right now. It really is, because it's different than what we have been doing. It's certainly different than what we did during the quarantine, because in the quarantine you were obligated to ride by yourself. So now where we're back to having the option, we don't have enough carts because everybody, as Jim said, fell in love with riding by yourself. So it's a bit of a new scenario now too. And I kind of keep getting stuck in the procedural aspects of this a little bit too, because, is this a rate change? And I'm sort of hung up on that a little bit, is whether this is a rate. It sounds like the legal department said it's not a rate change. It's just enforcing the policy, so we don't have to change our rates. So, I'm struggling with how to proceed on this because we're obviously split as a commission.
I think we need a proposal.
Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Anthony.
Hey, so my thought would be, obviously, I would not vote on this at all tonight. I would not take any action, seeing that it wasn't really posted as an item.
Correct.
If you want to put together a proposal or have Jim put together a proposal for the next meeting, I think that's fine. It'll get publicly noticed. That would give the public time to send in emails and voice their concerns. But, yeah, I think our legal team is looking at this as, the carts are, two people get a cart, they're paying $18 each. A cart costs $36. And I understand that the commission is split on that, but I think having a proposal in front of us would make everybody a little more comfortable. And again, I would not take action on this tonight.
What are we voting on, though? That's what I'm struggling with. Right? It's like it's to enforce our policy. It's to change the rate. I hate to get caught up in the procedure aspects of this, but I'm struggling to even think what we're even voting on. But yeah, I think that's what we have to do is maybe Jim, Anthony, and I work together, talk to the legal department, figure out procedurally what this is, and then put together a proposal that we can put on the agenda, we can get public input, and then we can discuss it as a commission and vote on it.
I suggest we get input from the first selectman. I don't think there's any way Brenda Kupchak would support what's going on right now. So Liam has a very good idea. I agree that we should postpone vote until the next meeting, but obviously, keeping $36 charges for individuals is not fair.
All right, then ask for more cards.
Somebody speak up.
All right, so that's what we'll do. We'll solicit. Let's put a pause on it right now, Jim. Let's not implement it, and then we'll have to just keep working on it between now and the next meeting, and then we'll put it on the agenda.
Great. If I can just add before we close the subject, I just want to say I hope everybody realizes I do not get a commission on golf carts. It has nothing to do with me, revenue, or
no.
Okay, I'm trying to be
no, and I
fair
get
to
your
100.
point, Jim. Absolutely.
Okay, I'm just trying to be fair to the 100% of the people that play up there, just so we don't fall back to our 1990 years where there was a lot of favoritism and whatnot. I'm looking out for the best aspect of the golf course and the fairness to everybody that plays up there from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So it has nothing to do with me personally. It's not the gym rule or anything like that. Just trying to.
Jim, being that you're a rider, I think you were trying to get even with people.
Oh, I'd run circles around golf. I'd never go in a golf cart. Thank you, though. When I do, I go on.
You're welcome.
But it's a good point to make, Jim. It's a good point to make. I don't want anybody to think that there's a financial gain here for any individual person. So that's a good point.
Thank you.
Yeah, that wasn't even like a thought in my head, Jim, because I know that you don't make anything off the golf carts, but yeah.
No, I just
so
like
we're going to leave things. We're going to leave things as is. The half cart fee as is for the time being.
Yeah,
fine with me.
Okay.
So you don't care if there's not enough carts?
No. All right. So, Prue, do we have any other communications that we needed to? I have some public input later, but for now.
Well, they were all about the fee except for the one that I emailed you and Anthony. That was the only one that was slightly different about the maintenance.
Right. Yeah, we could talk about that now. I've heard that from two different people. So I was going to bring that up in public input. I got a phone call and talked through kind of an interesting idea. I'm not sure it works, but to have members of the different leagues, particularly probably the men's league, because that's where it originated from, come in and do some maintenance on the course, in particular filling divots and things like that. After hours, so that to kind of make sure that the divots are getting filled up. I think this has come up in the past. Jim, you said this came up in the past before?
Yeah, in the past, the men's club has done a spring cleanup at the golf course, and it ended the way I guess you anticipate it's going to end with a grievance from the union.
It's a union issue.
Yeah, it's a union issue. And so I don't think there's anything we can do there. I appreciate the effort, but I think we run into a pretty big union issue. And it sounds like we came into one before as well.
They're doing their job.
What's that?
That's their job.
I'm
Is that
hearing
Peter?
some
Who's that?
conversations in the background. Yeah.
Yeah, someone
sounded like Peter. Peter?
Peter's not there.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Gotcha now.
Hear ya.
Can you hear me? No,
Wait, is that Peter?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So, Peter, you want some free help?
Well, I take all the help I can, but my boys won't take too kindly to it.
Now, what about putting sand back in the carts? Is that legal yet? Are we allowed to do that?
Yes.
I thought that was still. We could put bottles of sand back in the carts.
Sand in the cart.
My understanding.
Yeah, I'm breaking up. I can't hear you. Is it possible to put sand back in the carts?
They are.
The sand is back in the carts?
The sand is there.
Okay.
Where are we on the agenda right now?
Okay, we are only
We're still on
at
communications,
number
number 2. Yep.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
These are the communications that we got in advance. All right, so I think we're going to not accept that offer, and we'll keep doing what we're doing, and people can repair the divots as they go. All right, on to staff reports. Jim?
Okay, just real briefly. Everybody saw the numbers. I want to thank Liam for putting together his Excel sheet with the percentage increases and whatnot. I hope everybody got a copy of that. As far as Liam comparing, apples to apples from the previous year, I think it's a great report. I hope he can keep doing that. As you can see, the rounds for the month, when you add all our resident, non-resident, and complimentary rounds, comes out to almost 8,800 rounds. So that's an average of 292 rounds a day at Smith, those are weekend numbers in the middle of summer.
Amazing.
So every day, Monday through Monday, and it's just been incredible, and it hasn't let up at all in July. So other than that, everything's fine up at the golf course. We got a little issue with the carts, but we don't want to talk about that right now. And that's about it.
How about the bathrooms, Jim? How are those going? I haven't heard any complaints.
I haven't heard too many complaints myself. I believe the company that's responsible for that, maybe Peter can comment more on it, or construction company, but I think they've been doing a little better job as far as maintenance of the facilities. I do see their truck up there far more often now. Haven't had a lot of complaints. I don't know if that's because people just gave up finally, or if they're actually doing a better job. I think that's a question for somebody else.
Porta potties? They cleaning it more?
They're doing better, yeah.
Yeah,
Peter, what are your thoughts on that?
I've been
They've been here very early in the morning, quite a bit, so they're taking care of it.
No, that's good.
All right, Jim, anything else?
No, that's all I have.
All right, good. All right, Anthony?
Nothing to add on top of the pro report. I could touch upon the concession RFP when we get down to it.
Okay. All right, Peter, you want to give your report?
Oh, it's just all out grooming the golf course. We got a lot of things to do here. These basins here, we're cutting all this new grass, fixing the irrigation breaks. We're quite busy. So is the golf course.
Who's got all the noise in the background? Can you guys, whoever that is, could you mute?
Thank you. Now?
No,
that's not me.
Somebody's doing dishes. All right.
But I think, Keith, I don't think she unmuted the call, so people who are listening, the public, can talk. That's what you're hearing.
Oh, I thought I did. 1 second.
I don't think so. But try again. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay. Can we still hear it?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that better?
I never had to press the number to get unmuted tonight.
Same.
No, I think the soft mute is not for. I'm not sure. But I'm just reading the directions on here, so I don't hear the dishes anymore.
Okay.
Good job.
Right.
I'm trying.
All right, well, yeah, there's something.
Okay.
All is
right.
well up here.
I'm going to do it one more time. It says, showing me. Okay. That worked.
Yeah,
got
that
it
worked.
that time.
Yeah, that did it.
Sorry. I was doing the same thing,
okay.
but I guess my phone just didn't want to participate.
No, that's good. That's better.
Okay.
All right, Peter, sorry. Course is in good shape. Working at just normal maintenance. Anything else?
Oh, he's got to unmute now.
I played it yesterday. It was in good shape. All right, let's move on to the Greens Committee report. Go ahead, guys.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, got you, Peter.
Yeah.
Thank you for that text, Anthony. So, am I on now?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just trying to keep I'm training new guys up here. I'm trying to get my other guys raises. I'm working with Anthony because other companies are paying a lot more money than I'm paying my guys up here, but I don't know what's going to happen. So we are just all out taking care of the golf course, and we have plenty to do. We had a bunch of trees come down over the weekend, or branches and limbs, so it's all well. It's busy up here, and the course is in good shape.
All right. All right, thank you. Do the Greens Committee.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, first of all, I have to say that very, very disappointed in that the issues with the forward tee on 6 and the forward tee on 7 have not been addressed. And the makeshift tee that they put on 6 is awful. And I've received many complaints. And the fact that no work has been done, and we've been speaking about this for over a year now. I actually went out again with Jim and discussed where the 6th and 7th should be or could be, the possibilities. And the shape of 6 is just absolutely awful. And it's right down at the bottom of the hill. It's sometimes it gets mowed, sometimes it doesn't, but no work has been done into making the tee a permanent tee. I understand there is a problem with the gas line where it is, and Jim and I went out again and we looked at a couple of different options that Jim really liked, and I agreed with him. I've tried to find Peter a couple of times, actually more than a couple of times, but unfortunately haven't been able to touch base with him. And then for the same thing for the 7th tee, although we're using the tee that has been there now, but because of problems with a lot of the women reaching the creek, we've discussed before pace of play to move it up and over to the right. And I know that Peter once said that the irrigation was an issue, although I'm sure we could probably get another line in attaching it to the current irrigation system. So that's a major concern. And then the fact that the 4th tee, the forward tee, has to be moved up is, I definitely understand that. But where it has been now, we feel like it's in the middle of the fairway almost. It's almost the length of a par 3. So I don't know what work needs to be done as far as in the drainage, but even the temporary tee that they have until they can make a new one needs to be put back a little bit more. Because being in the fairway it's not even a challenge to a lot of the women. So those are the
Priscilla,
three.
can I stop you right there?
Pardon me?
Priscilla, can I stop you right there? I mean, I
Yep.
know you've been wanting these tees here, but in fairness, I had 12 irrigation breaks on 1. I had 4 breaks on 4 tee. 10 tee we just got going. I only have so many men that I can do these things. I also have to cut fairways, cut greens, cut tees. We'll get to it. But when you have 292 rounds a day going through here, it's kind of tough to build a tee without. That's going to be a fall project. That is not going to be a summer project.
No, Peter, I definitely understand, and I know your guys are doing a terrific job because the course is in great shape. However, this has been an issue that I've been bringing up to the commission for over a year now, and as far as I understand, everybody was in agreement that this needs to be done, and the fact that nothing has been done has been very, very disappointing. And I've been getting a lot of complaints from a lot of the women just for women who play and in the leagues, and I think it's just unfair, and it holds up the pace of play. because where the tees are now, it's been very difficult for the women to reach even the greens in 3 or 4 shots. And we're trying to increase the pace of play because we're having so many rounds. But just the fact that it's been brought up for over a year now and has been agreed upon to make the changes, and it hasn't been done. And, this past winter, and I know with the clubhouse, and I know there's other, responsibilities that you and your guys have, but we had such a mild fall and winter. It would have been a great time to get at least the 6th done and the 7th, because there was so much time to work outside. But to have to go through another season, especially where 6 is, it's just very, very disappointing.
Now, we did a lot of work on the cart pass on 18. We did a lot of work outside, so that was the winter project. I mean, I know you want the 6T project done. It'll get done. But I think that's for you and I to go off to the side and talk about that. We don't need to talk about that tonight.
You know what? And I would love to agree with you, except for the fact that it's been over a year. But I would love to bring you out there again, and Jim can come with us, because Jim and I made the effort to go out, and we spotted great areas that on Jim's suggestion, and I would love to get this done. And I know your guys are working hard, and they're doing a great job on the course. But this is something that we need to address as soon as possible.
Well, then we're going to have to start putting golfers out, because I can't put my guys down there at the bottom of the hill with people teeing off nonstop when all these rounds are going through.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree. That's
so is the process before. Is the process here that you set the agenda for all the changes in the golf course? I don't understand. Like, I'm sure he has a list of things he's working on that have some prioritization to it. Like, so how does that work? Because it just seems like I actually played the Reds the last 3 or 4 times I played there with my son, and I agree 6 is a little bit of a challenge. I don't agree with 7, but I agree with 6 is something should maybe done. But I got to think that Peter has a big punch list of things he's always working on, and obviously things pop up as well. Like how does it work here? Like, does the Greens Committee set the priorities of what gets worked on, or
no.
Is it
as a commission that we will do this? And this was brought up last year at a commission meeting, and it was agreed upon that these were changes that needed to be made. And again, a lot because of pace of play, and that these are the 2 holes that were holding the course up, because it took a majority of the women a lot of strokes to get to the green, which obviously in turn will hold the course up behind them. And it was 6 and 7. So Peter and I have walked out. Jim and I have done it a couple of times, and the commission agreed last year that these are changes that need to be made.
I mean, I agree that it's a difficult spot where it is now, and I think that the gas line provides additional challenges for an alternate location. It sounds like you and Jim have worked out a 3rd location from possibility that might be better. I mean, how open are you to the possibility of just moving it all the way up to the top of the hill?
Well, Jim and I discussed that, and it would take the challenge out of it. And again, you've got to worry about course ratings and everything else. So Jim did come up with a spot which I agreed with it, which was a compromise, but would also get it out of the way of the gas line. So I think that's something that we need to look at. Yeah. And as far as 7 is concerned, 7 is a big issue with a lot of the women. A lot of the women cannot even reach the creek on that tee shot. And so you want to give them an opportunity to at least try to make it over the creek. And so if you move it up and to the right a little bit, that gives them more of an opportunity. And with still making it as challenging, maybe not but as challenging as you can. So that was the other the hole that we were concerned about. So and everybody was in agreement with that. It's just a matter of just trying to get this done now.
Priscilla, I was just back to Liam's question. So the committee brought up 6 and 7 a lot, the women's tees. And
correct.
You think the committee agreed that they're going to change 6. But to Liam's point, Peter's like, well, I'll get to it when I get to it. Like, we can't just keep talking about it every meeting and we don't get to it because maybe we just need to figure out when we're on the list. Like, we don't need to keep making the point because we agree with the point, right? But you keep bringing it up because you don't feel it's going to happen? Or
right, because correct. Because I've been getting, I get all the complaints and I get the emails from the women's groups, and so it's my duty to represent the women's group and bring this forth because it hasn't been addressed.
Right, but as a committee, if we've agreed to do something, we don't want to keep making the argument for something we all agreed to. We really need to talk to Peter about when it can happen realistically, right?
That's a good point. Absolutely.
Okay. So as a committee, Peter's telling us it's the fall, right?
The fall is the best time to do projects. I mean, it's just like I said, it's just too busy out here to be doing that kind of work.
All right. I don't really.
Instead of taking like a day and a half to build the thing, it'll take like 3, 4, 5, 6 days because you just got to keep stopping, let people hit, stopping, let people hit, and it's just a waste of time to do it this time of year. There's so many other things to be doing in July and August, September. But when I get to October, we can start looking into all that.
Is it possible to move the temporary tees to a better location to address some of the issues now, and then put the more permanent solution in October?
I'll have to take a look at it. I can't. Like I said, I don't.
Because those are just they're just mowed, right? There's no structure. They're just mowed.
Sometimes the boys forget about them to mow it, and then they cut it. So in fairness, it has been skipped a few times being cut, and it's a bad location. It's got to be built up. But it's time, money, and like I said, I would love to have done it earlier, but then golf course opened, and we're in full grooming mode, and by the time we finish getting everything cut for the day, it's pretty well shot.
Right. Priscilla, what are your thoughts on that, about maybe changing the location? You and Peter could do two things, work on the permanent location and work on a right temporary location for the next, I guess, 2 months or 3
Peter,
months.
I would love to do that. I can come out almost any day this week. If just let me know when you're around, and we can go out again and hopefully, earmark it as far as when it can be done, and then just do the location and hopefully this fall get it done then.
Yeah.
That would be the game plan. I forgot to add, also, because the siren is not working here, I've got a guy coming tomorrow. It's called lightning strike here. It's going to be sirens. It's going to be a sensor that detects lightning, and it'll fire off the siren. So, because I guess the siren on the old cart barn is shot, so we need a warning signal, and it'll take all the guesswork out of Jim, because it'll detect the lightning. Because actually, I was playing at the golf course today, and they had one, and it worked quite well. They have sirens all over, like 3-4 stations on the golf course. So I have a guy coming. We'll be looking at it. It's going to be a big number, but probably about $30,000. But I've told Anthony that we're going to go forward and try and get this done.
And the temporary solution is just the handheld air horns, right?
Correct.
Yeah. All right, but you think you'll get that in this season?
I'm going to find out more. I'll find out more tomorrow.
Okay. All right. All right. Priscilla, anything else?
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Paul, anything to add for the Greens Committee? I think he's muted. give him another second. You're muted if you're talking. All right. Hearing none, we'll move on. The Clubhouse. Anthony, what's going on there?
I actually have no real news. They're making good progress up there. I'm sure you guys have all seen it, but yeah, most of the walls are up. Some of the roofs are up. It's looking good, making really good progress. So.
Yeah, they got some exterior on. They got shingles on. It looks good.
Yeah, the windows are in. It's going to be beautiful when you're finishing 18.
Right.
That's for sure.
Good. All right, let's talk about the concession. Where are we with that? Is that on the street yet?
I feel like every time I come to you guys, I tell you it's with the legal team, and it is with the legal team. I should have a draft to the full commission. Right, I haven't sent that to you guys yet, right? I should have it soon. No, I sent that to you. So legal's on it. It should be on the street. It should be on the streets shortly.
Yeah, we've seen it.
Yeah, I apologize.
No, it's okay. Yeah, let's get that out.
I'm sorry. Can I just ask, Anthony, were you just speaking, or who was just speaking about the concession?
Yes, this is Anthony. Sorry, Proof.
Okay,
it's Anthony.
You. No, it's all right. I wanted to be sure.
You don't have everybody's voices memorized yet?
Not yet, but hopefully by the next meeting.
Right. I don't know who half the people are talking, so it is helpful if we say our names. This is key. I'm not good with voices. All right. Any new business? All right. Public input. I had a conversation with Bob Gorman. He gave me some of the suggestions, many of which we've already talked about. Another one was the lightning alert system, so I'm glad we got a quick update on that. The other one was, and I told Bob I would bring up again the water, having a water cooler on the course somewhere. After talking to Anthony and looking at what we do with the other town facilities, I don't think it will work. Having public or coolers like that, we don't have those on any facilities in town. And we do have signs up and there's water out, and you can get at the pro shop. So I know we've talked about it in the past, so if anybody feels strongly for a different reason, let me know. But I think at this point we keep doing what we're doing. All right. Any other public input? Did anybody hear anything else or anything else they want to raise? All right. 8 o'clock on the dot. Good work, everybody. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll give a motion. Liam.
All right. This is Keith. I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. It sounds like we'll be getting some things during between now and the next one that we can talk about at the next meeting, particularly about the golf carts and the concessionaire RFP. So, thank you, everybody, and we'll be in touch.
All right. Thank you, Prue. Thank you for hosting your first meeting.
Yep.
Thank you for your
Thank you, everybody.
Okay. Bye-bye.
See you guys.